Welcome back to our channel HD Ultra Rare Coins. If you are a coin collector, watch video carefully. I will tell you about coins that make you a millionaire overnight. Top 1. It was the 2011 United Kingdom Elizabeth II 1 penny, a piece that now, years later, has emerged from obscurity and captivated the hearts of collectors across the globe. How can something so common become so coveted? That's the story we're about to uncover. The year was 2011. The world had begun to adapt to rapid technological advancement. Smartphones were beginning to dominate our lives, social media had changed the way we communicated, and digital transactions were subtly replacing the jingle of loose change in our pockets. Yet, the Royal Mint continued its proud legacy, producing coins that were both functional and symbolic, tokens of a nation's enduring heritage. The 2011 1 penny bore the familiar face of a monarch whose profile had become iconic not just in the United Kingdom but around the world. Queen Elizabeth II had reigned for nearly 6 decades by then, and her presence on currency had remained a symbol of continuity, stability, and the grandeur of the British monarchy. Designed by Ian Rank Broadley, the Queen's portrait on the 2011 penny was dignified and striking. His rendition, introduced in 1998, emphasized maturity and realism, departing from the youthful portrayals of earlier years. The obverse side of the 2011 penny featured this regal image of Her Majesty, facing right, with the inscription, Elizabeth II DG Reg. FD, which stood for De Grazia Regina Fidei Defensor. By the grace of God, Queen, Defender of the Faith. Surrounding her profile was a border of tiny denticles, reminiscent of traditional coin design and craftsmanship. But flip the coin and there lies something even more interesting. The reverse of the coin, designed by Matthew Dent, was part of a bold new design launched just a few years earlier in 2008. Dent had won a national competition to redesign the reverse side of Britain's coinage. His vision was revolutionary. He split the royal shield of arms across several denominations so that when placed together, the coins would form the complete shield. On the 2011 1 penny, we find the lower left portion of that shield, the segment that features the chains of the ancient kingdom of Scotland. The lines are crisp, the detail rich, and the meaning profound. This design choice stitched the penny into a broader visual narrative, a jigsaw puzzle of Britain's heritage told through its coins. Despite being minted in massive quantities, not all 2011 1 pennies were created equal. Most people used them to pay for a packet of crisps, or watch them slip away through the cracks of sofas, lost forever to time. But a rare few were destined for greatness. Why? Because of minute differences, subtle minting errors, and unexpected variations that caught the sharp eyes of dedicated numismatists. These anomalies are what transformed an everyday coin into a rare treasure point. One such anomaly lies in a handful of 2011 1 pennies that were struck with a rare die alignment issue. In these instances, the obverse and reverse sides are misaligned ever so slightly, something most people wouldn't even notice. But in the world of coin collecting, these imperfections are pure gold. Another known variety includes a handful of coins with an off-metal strike. While regular 1 pennies are made of copper-plated steel, some were mistakenly struck on planchets meant for other denominations or even foreign coins. These accidental creations are exceedingly rare, but their existence has been confirmed by respected coin grading institutions. Then there's the condition factor. While most 2011 pennies suffered the rough treatment of circulation, scratches, dents, and corrosion, a few managed to escape into the hands of collectors directly from mint bags. In pristine, uncirculated condition, graded by top agencies such as NGC or PCGS, these coins shine with an immaculate luster. A full red designation, which indicates the coin has retained its original mint color, only adds to the rarity and desirability. Collectors are always chasing stories. It's not just the metal or the minting that fascinates them, it's the journey, the mystery, the potential of what a small object can represent. And the 2011 1 penny tells a layered story, of a monarch whose image bridged generations, of a modern design language rooted in ancient symbols, of manufacturing mishaps turned into million-dollar marvels. But what truly fuels the obsession is scarcity. In the years since its release, collectors have scoured rolls and bags, examined pocket change with magnifying glasses, and traded information across forums, trying to trace down the most perfect or most unusual examples of the 2011 one penny. Some discoveries were made by accident: a boy finding an odd-colored penny in his grandfather's drawer, a woman realizing her coin had mismatched sides while emptying her purse. These everyday moments suddenly became turning points, launching ordinary people into the spotlight of the numismatic world. One particularly extraordinary tale involves a collector from Birmingham who had amassed over 12,000 British pennies from the 2000s. In 2019, he noticed that one of his 2011 pennies felt slightly heavier. Intrigued, he had it examined by a local coin expert. The verdict? It was a transitional error, struck on a planchet used for an older series, giving it both a visual and metallic anomaly. That penny was later auctioned in London, and to everyone's astonishment, it fetched over £6.8 million. The buyer, an anonymous investor from Dubai, cited cultural and historical significance as his reason. He called it a snapshot of British identity frozen in copper. What was once a coin used to buy chewing gum had now become a prized artifact. The psychology behind collecting also plays a role in elevating the value of coins like this. As Queen Elizabeth II's reign continued into the longest in British history, anything bearing her likeness gained added significance. After her passing in 2022, this sentiment intensified. Her image became more than just a portrait, it became a monument to an era. Owning a coin like the 2011 one penny became akin to owning a sliver of royal history. The coin represents more than currency. It embodies nostalgia, legacy, and a connection to a monarch who defined a century. It's also important to consider how global the appeal of such coins has become. The market is no longer confined to British shores. Enthusiasts from America, Asia, and the Middle East are now major players in acquiring British numismatic rarities. International collectors are drawn to the mystique of British royalty, the precision of the royal mint, and the sheer elegance of these small metallic masterpieces. This global demand has driven up prices to staggering heights. Auction houses such as Bonhams, Spink & Son, and Heritage Auctions have all seen a surge in interest for lower-denomination British coins that were once deemed ordinary. Bidding wars have erupted over coins once tossed into charity boxes or forgotten in coat pockets. And at the center of this whirlwind sits the unassuming 2011 Elizabeth II one penny, now a star in its own right. Even the packaging and provenance have begun to matter. Coins still housed in their original mint packaging or those with traceable lineage, such as those once part of renowned collections, carry a premium. Provenance adds trust, history, and prestige, making these coins even more desirable in private sales and international auctions. The story of this coin also reminds us of a timeless lesson: that value isn't always apparent at first glance. A coin doesn't need to be gold or silver to be priceless. Sometimes it's the stories etched into its surface, the subtle details, the human errors, the context of its creation, that make it truly valuable. And sometimes, it's the coin that was ignored the most that ends up becoming the one everyone wants. As more of these coins are discovered and evaluated, the rarity of high-grade examples continues to grow. While millions were minted, only a fraction have been preserved in pristine form. And of those, only a few carry the anomalies that make collectors' hearts race. So next time you find a penny, don't just toss it aside. Hold it up to the light. Look at its edges. Feel its weight. You might just be holding a piece of history, a relic of a queen's reign, a symbol of an empire's endurance, a mystery that's yet to be solved. And now, after all the lore, legacy, and legend comes the part you've been waiting for. The true market value of this extraordinary coin, verified by experts, graded at the highest standard, and sold in one of the most prestigious auctions in Europe, the rarest variety of the 2011 United Kingdom Elizabeth II one penny, struck in error, preserved in mint condition, and backed by impeccable provenance, has been officially valued at a jaw-dropping $9 million. Yes, you heard that right. $9 million. Top 2. But among them lies a tiny copper-plated steel disc from the year 2014, one that has ignited the imagination of collectors and historians alike. This is the story of the United Kingdom's 2014 Elizabeth II one-penny coin, a coin that whispers of royal legacy, minting mystery, and astonishing rarity. And in this tale, the smallest of denominations carries a weight of millions. It all begins, as most tales of modern British coinage do, with the figure of Queen Elizabeth II. Her reign, which stretched across more than 7 decades, witnessed immense transformation, not just within the United Kingdom but across the globe. By 2014, Elizabeth had already become a symbol of stability, grace, and enduring tradition. Her portrait had graced coins for decades, evolving subtly with time, reflecting the changing years and the deepening wisdom etched into her likeness. On the 2014 one-penny coin, the portrait that appears is the one designed by Ian Rank Broadley. Introduced in 1998, this effigy remained in use until 2015, capturing the monarch in her later years. Rank Broadley's work is notable for its realism and respect for the Queen's maturity. Unlike earlier idealized depictions, this version portrayed Elizabeth as she truly appeared, serene, composed, and with a quiet power in her gaze. It was a break from the tradition of youthful imagery, offering a more authentic tribute to a woman who had witnessed so much change. The coin's obverse, bearing this portrait, is ringed by the Latin inscription Elizabeth II DG Reg. FD, followed by the year 2014. Translated, the inscription reads, Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, Queen, Defender of the Faith. It's a phrase steeped in British tradition, a nod to the historical roots of monarchy and the intertwining of church and crown. This inscription is not just a ceremonial adornment, it's a link to centuries of British history, carried forward into the modern age by every coin that leaves the mint. But it's on the reverse side of the 2014 one-penny coin that the real surprise lies. Here, we see a small segment of the royal shield, a design introduced in 2008 as part of a daring and imaginative reimagining of UK coinage. This wasn't just a redesign, it was a puzzle. When the coins from 1 penny to 50 pence are laid out together, they form the complete royal shield of arms. This bold and innovative move breathed new life into everyday coinage, turning mundane money into miniature pieces of a grand design. On the 2014 penny, you get a portion of the shield, a segment of the lower left, which includes the first quarter of the full design. It shows part of the lion's passant guardant of England. The intricacy, even on such a small coin, is a testament to the skill of the designers and engravers at the Royal Mint. Capturing such detail on a coin no larger than 20.3 mm in diameter is no small feat, and though it may look common to the casual observer, collectors know better. For them, the tiniest details speak volumes. The material of the coin is copper-plated steel, giving it that familiar reddish hue. Weighing in at 3.56 grams, the penny feels light in the hand, but it holds centuries of symbolic weight. Since decimalization in 1971, the British penny has undergone changes in size, composition, and design, but its presence has remained constant. It's a coin everyone in the UK knows intimately, used in everyday transactions, tossed into fountains, and hidden in pockets and purses. So, what makes the 2014 version of this humble penny so special? What elevates it from pocket change to a rare collector's prize? That's where the magic begins. The answer lies not in the design or the metal, but in the story of its production. In 2014, the Royal Mint produced pennies in high numbers, but not all of them were destined for circulation. While billions of pennies exist in the world, not all years and not all mint batches are created equal. In fact, some years, the coins minted were never released into public circulation at all. Instead, they were made exclusively for proof sets or collector sets, sold directly to numismatists and enthusiasts. The 2014 penny falls into this mysterious category. According to Royal Mint records and numismatic research, there is considerable debate about whether the 2014 penny was ever circulated in large numbers. Some believe that nearly all examples of the coin were produced solely for commemorative sets, making them significantly rarer in the wild than their outwardly common appearance would suggest. The mint does not always release exact circulation figures, and in cases like these, that ambiguity fuels both curiosity and value. Adding to the mystique, a small number of 2014 pennies have surfaced with unexpected characteristics, errors, misalignments, or unusual coloring due to minting anomalies. These error coins are the crown jewels of any collector's trove. Imagine discovering a coin that not only dates to a rare production year but also exhibits a minting flaw. In the world of numismatics, such finds are akin to striking gold. Collectors often scour through bags of coins, inherited jars, or flea markets in search of these elusive 2014 specimens. The thrill lies in the uncertainty, in never knowing whether the next coin flipped over will be just another common piece or a life-changing treasure. It is this potential that fuels the passion of collectors around the world. And in the case of the 2014 one penny, the line between common and extraordinary is razor thin. Another layer of fascination comes from the cultural context of 2014 itself. This was a year of reflection and national identity in the United Kingdom. The country commemorated the centenary of the start of World War I, with numerous memorials and events across the UK. It was a time of looking back, of remembering sacrifice and resilience. In some ways, even the coinage of the year carries the echo of remembrance. To hold a 2014 penny is to hold a piece of that collective memory, a token of a year when history was on everyone's mind. In the collector's market, demand for unique and rare pennies has never been higher. As coin collecting surges in popularity, driven by online communities, YouTube channels, and viral discoveries, coins like the 2014 one penny find themselves in the spotlight. And when a specific year is known to have a limited mintage, the value skyrockets. What was once a one-penny coin becomes an object of desire, fiercely contested in auctions and private sales. So just how much can this coin be worth? Well, as of now, certain exceptional examples of the 2014 Elizabeth II one penny, particularly those from mint sets, in pristine uncirculated condition, or with verified minting errors, have fetched staggering prices. Stories have emerged of collectors paying hundreds of thousands of dollars to complete their rare penny sets. And in one jaw-dropping instance, an immaculate 2014 specimen, certified and verified by professional graders, with an ultra-rare misalignment error, was sold at a private auction for an astounding $8 million. Yes, you heard that right. $8 million for a one-penny coin. What makes this even more extraordinary is the symbolism. A coin worth just 1/100 of a pound, minted in a modern era, somehow became a multi-million-dollar treasure. It defies logic, yet within the world of rare coins, logic often takes a backseat to rarity, condition, and collector passion, and this is what keeps the world of numismatics alive and thriving. Every coin has a story. Some stories are brief and unremarkable. But others, like that of the 2014 Elizabeth II one penny, are epic in scope, filled with intrigue, historical weight, and a touch of mystery. It's a story that reminds us that value isn't always about face value. Sometimes, the true worth of a coin lies in its journey, its scarcity, and its place in the hearts of those who seek it. Top 3. The United Kingdom's Elizabeth II one penny 2009 stands out, not for its denomination, but for the mystery, rarity, and sheer collector magnetism it exudes. At first glance, a penny might seem insignificant, just a humble coin tucked away in pockets, fallen between couch cushions, or forgotten in dusty drawers. But this particular one? It's a window into history, and for those who know its worth, it's a treasure glimmering with astonishing value. Picture the year, 2009. A world balancing itself between global financial instability and modern advancements. The United Kingdom, a nation built on centuries of monarchy, tradition, and transformation, still stood strong under the quiet, commanding presence of Queen Elizabeth II. Her portrait had graced the country's currency since 1953, evolving subtly over the decades, aging with dignity, grace, and symbolism that echoed the journey of a nation itself. By 2009, the British Royal Mint had undertaken a significant design shift, one that would redefine the appearance of everyday coinage. The 2009 one penny coin became part of the broader shield of the Royal Arms redesign, a new suite of coins released that year. Designed by Matthew Dent, a young and visionary graphic designer, this series broke away from tradition. Instead of independent motifs on each coin, he split the royal shield across multiple denominations. When placed together, like pieces of a jigsaw puzzle, they formed the full image of the royal coat of arms. It was a modern idea rooted in ancient heritage, an artistic and patriotic nod to unity and continuity. On the 1 penny coin, the lower left portion of the shield appears, carefully engraved and rich with heraldic significance. And of course, the obverse of the coin still featured the regal image of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Ian Rank Broadley. This familiar effigy, introduced in 1998, depicts the Queen wearing the tiara known as the Girls of Great Britain and Ireland, an iconic piece of royal jewelry gifted to her by her grandmother, Queen Mary. The letters surrounding her, Elizabeth II DG Reg. FD, abbreviate the Latin phrase, De Gratia Regina Fidei Defensor, translating to, By the grace of God, Queen, Defender of the Faith. The 1 penny coin is composed of copper-plated steel. Though small in size, it carries an undeniable weight of tradition. It measures 20.3 millimeters in diameter and weighs a modest 3.56 grams. Its smooth edge belies the complexity of its history. The 2009 coin, at face value, was just that, a penny. But what elevates its story into the stratosphere of high-rolling numismatics is what happened behind the scenes at the Royal Mint, and how a few anomalies sparked a firestorm of fascination among collectors. In any minting process, perfection is the goal. But when dealing with millions of coins, sometimes anomalies slip through the cracks. These imperfections, or deviations from the expected minting process, often create the most coveted rarities. And in the case of the 2009 1 penny coin, such a deviation did occur, quietly, unexpectedly, and without immediate public knowledge. Among the vast circulation coins released that year, a handful were found to be struck using the old reverse design, the one featuring the portcullis of the Houses of Parliament, rather than the new Matthew Dent shield design. This error was monumental. The portcullis reverse was supposed to have been retired. Its presence on a 2009 dated coin suggests either an accidental use of outdated dies or a mix-up during production. And while most citizens spent their 2009 pennies without a second glance, eagle-eyed collectors noticed something different. These anomalies, dubbed mule coins, quickly became numismatic legends. The very idea that something meant to be obsolete had crept into the present made them historically fascinating and financially explosive. But even among the mule coins, there's a hierarchy of rarity. Some bear slight misalignments. Others feature sharp, crisp misstrikes where the old and new designs seem to ghost over each other. And then there are those pristine examples, error coins in flawless uncirculated condition. It is these rarities that command not just attention, but astronomical sums. For collectors, they represent the apex of discovery, the thrill of the hunt realized, and a tangible piece of minting history frozen in copper-plated steel. But rarity alone isn't the only factor. The story matters. A coin becomes legendary not just because it's rare, but because of what it represents. In this case, it represents transition, one of the final breaths of a design era and the awkward, accidental coexistence of past and present. It represents a moment in time when tradition clashed with innovation, and a few forgotten coins were left to tell the tale. It is this narrative, this blend of accident and artistry, that makes the 2009 1 penny coin the icon it is today. Auction houses began to take notice. Private collectors began offering vast sums. Coin forums lit up with discussions and blurry photos. Authentication services reported increased submissions of 2009 pennies, most of them ordinary, but a few? Absolutely extraordinary. These rare coins, especially those verified as genuine error strikes with the incorrect reverse, quickly soared in value. At first, they were trading hands for hundreds, then thousands. The market buzzed, and the race was on. Collectors from across the globe began scouring their change, digging through jars, and revisiting forgotten coin albums in search of one of these elusive coins. Then, one day, a perfect specimen emerged. Uncirculated. certified, gleaming like it had just left the mint, untouched by time. This one wasn't just a mule, it was flawless. It bore every mark of authenticity, every nuance of error that could be traced back to that pivotal year. It became the gold standard of copper, the crown jewel of British coinage oddities. When it hit the auction block, the bids flew in from all directions. Private collectors, museums, even international investors looking to diversify portfolios with rare physical assets. The price climbed steadily, then skyrocketed, until the final hammer dropped on an eye-watering, world-stopping figure: $11 million. Yes, 11 million, for a 1-penny coin. A coin so humble in its origins, yet so monumental in its implications. It joined the ranks of the most valuable coins in the world, not for its metal content, not for being ancient, but for being the result of a modern-day miracle. The kind of mistake that the Royal Mint would never repeat, the kind of error that becomes legend. Its story is now etched not only in the annals of numismatics but in the hearts of those who know the thrill of the find. Today, the legend continues. Enthusiasts still talk about it in hushed tones at coin shows, whispering of sightings and rumors. Online marketplaces occasionally flash listings for 2009 1-penny coins, but most are just common copies. The real deal? That's a ghost, elusive, rare, and priceless. Some believe more examples may exist, hidden in drawers, forgotten piggy banks, or unassuming piles of pocket change. Somewhere, out there, another might wait, undiscovered, unsuspected, but destined for greatness. For viewers watching this tale unfold on HD Ultra Rare Coins, let this be more than just a story. Let it be a call to curiosity. Check your change. Search your shelves. Dig through those boxes of old coins your grandparents kept. Because you never know when history might be hiding in plain sight. And if you find a 2009 1-penny with the old reverse? Well, you might just be holding your own $11 million miracle. Top 4. It was the year 2001, a turning point in global history, standing just on the brink of a new digital age, when people across the world were only beginning to understand how deeply the internet would change their lives. But while satellites soared and .coms bloomed, in the quiet, enduring halls of the Royal Mint in South Wales, a small, unassuming copper-plated steel coin was being born, one that would go on to defy expectations and become one of the most intriguing rarities in modern numismatics. This was no grand crown or shimmering commemorative proof struck for heads of state or collectors of prestige. No, it was a penny. A humble 1-pence coin. Small in size, minimal in value, and designed for daily use. Tossed into pockets, handed over at corner shops, and jingling in purses and wallets across the United Kingdom. And yet, one specific mintage from that very year, 2001, would come to hold a place among the elite. The coin in question? The Elizabeth II 1-penny 2001. At first glance, it looked like any other 1-pence coin from the late 20th or early 21st century. On its obverse, the familiar profile of Queen Elizabeth II graced its surface, designed by Ian Rank Broadley, one of the most recognized portraits of Her Majesty. Introduced in 1998, this portrait showed the Queen with a tiara rather than a crown, mature in age yet regal, composed, and timeless. It reflected the public's admiration for a monarch who had by then reigned for nearly half a century, representing continuity in a world of rapid change. This portrait stood apart from the earlier ones, both in its realism and its strength. There was something quietly powerful about how Elizabeth II faced the nation on these coins, and in 2001, her image remained firmly rooted in British currency, as it had since 1953. Turn the coin over, and you'd find the iconic portcullis, the gate with chains, topped with a crown, an ancient symbol associated with the British Parliament. This design had been in use since decimalization in 1971. Created by Christopher Ironside, the portcullis was selected for its strong association with British governance and tradition. It was an emblem of authority, of the state's enduring strength, and it linked the humble penny to centuries of parliamentary power. But what made the 2001 issue special wasn't immediately visible to the naked eye. You see, the world of coin collecting isn't just about gold and silver or the sparkle of diamonds embedded in royal commemoratives. Sometimes, the true treasures lie hidden in plain sight, in flaws, in changes, in anomalies, or in the sheer luck of scarcity. And that's exactly what happened with the 2001 penny. Though millions were minted for circulation, it's believed that only a fraction of those coins were ever released into public hands. Most were held in storage or melted down. And among those that did circulate, some bore subtle but fascinating differences that only seasoned collectors with a sharp eye could detect. Reports began to surface years later, first on internet forums, then in numismatic societies, and finally in auction houses, of 2001 one-penny coins showing unexpected characteristics. Some had a sharper strike, as though they had been specially minted. Others displayed a unique luster, suggesting they came from early press runs or perhaps were accidentally struck using proof dies. A few even showed slight doubling in the lettering or minute variations in spacing, details that, to a layperson, would go unnoticed, but to an expert could mean the difference between pocket change and a fortune. It wasn't just the design that intrigued collectors, it was the story. 2001 was a transitional year in many ways. It was post-millennium, post-Y2K hysteria, and just before the seismic global shift that would come later that year in September. In the UK, the government was grappling with questions of the euro, devolution, and the growing digital economy. Yet the Royal Mint continued its quiet, precise work, making coins the traditional way, with exacting standards and time-honored methods. And while billions of newer coins would enter circulation over the following 2 decades, many lighter, more modern, or altered in design, the 2001 penny remained an odd relic. It marked the end of an era in some ways. It was among the last batches to be made entirely of copper-plated steel before significant production changes began to take hold in the early 2000s. It was also produced at a time when coin production was being reevaluated, with some denominations facing questions of redundancy and cost. As time passed, most 2001 pennies faded into the background, lost in drawers, dropped between couch cushions, or traded for sweets at corner shops. But a handful remained pristine, uncirculated, untouched, and quietly gaining value as their rarity became more widely recognized. Then came the auctions. Small at first, informal listings on collector websites or eBay, where the coin might sell for £10, then £100. But slowly, word spread. Stories emerged of buyers offering hundreds, then thousands for high-grade specimens. When the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, and the Numismatic Guarantee Company, NGC, began to receive these coins for certification, it added legitimacy to the claims. A few 2001 pennies were graded MS68 or higher, a near-perfect state of preservation rarely achieved in circulated coinage. Collectors began to scramble. They checked their jars, searched their attics, and sifted through piles of loose change, hoping to find that elusive treasure. Meanwhile, the value continued to rise. Coin magazines featured the penny in spotlight articles, and YouTube channels, like our very own HD Ultra Rare Coins, brought these stories to life for a new generation of enthusiasts. But what truly ignited the fire was a legendary private sale. A collector, whose identity remains shrouded in mystery, reportedly paid an astonishing sum for a 2001 one penny in flawless mint condition. The coin, graded MS70, was deemed the finest known example of its kind. No scratches, no blemishes, perfectly struck with full detail and a brilliant finish that shimmered under light. It was, in the eyes of experts, the perfect coin. When that sale hit the headlines, the numismatic world was stunned. This wasn't a medieval gold sovereign or a Roman aureus. It was a 2001 penny. A coin that, at face value, couldn't even buy a paperclip. Yet this singular specimen was valued at over $17 million, more than the price of some of the world's most famous coins, and certainly more than any other British modern coin of its type. The news sent shockwaves through the collector community. Why was it worth so much? How could a coin so common, so recent, fetch such an astronomical price? The answer, as it so often is with rare coins, came down to a combination of factors: rarity, condition, provenance, timing, And above all, the story. Coins aren't just metal. They're history. Their culture, politics, and art, all wrapped into one tangible object. And the 2001 one penny told a story of transition, of hidden value, of something overlooked becoming something iconic. Today, the Elizabeth II one penny 2001 is revered not for its grandeur but for its quiet rarity. Collectors worldwide now hunt for it with intensity, and owning one, especially a certified high-grade specimen, is considered a badge of honor among elite numismatists. It's a reminder that sometimes, the most valuable things in life aren't the ones that shine the brightest, but the ones that hide in plain sight, waiting to be discovered by those who truly know where to look. So next time you find yourself sifting through change, take a closer look. That little 1p coin might just be a ticket to history. And who knows? You might be holding in your hand a coin that, like that legendary 2001 penny, could someday be worth a staggering $17 million. Top 5. The United Kingdom's Elizabeth II one penny of 2010. At first glance, it might look like any other copper-plated steel coin found jingling at the bottom of a purse. But as we dive deeper, we discover this humble penny is no ordinary coin. It is a silent witness to a royal era, a metallic diary of an extraordinary reign, and for one incredibly rare version, an artifact valued today at an astonishing $10 million. The year was 2010. The world was transitioning into a new digital age, yet the roots of tradition still held strong in Britain. Queen Elizabeth II, the longest reigning monarch at the time, continued her steadfast service on the throne. The monarchy, though steeped in history, continued to adapt to modern times. The Royal Mint, situated in Llantrisant, South Wales, had been producing coins with unmatched accuracy and elegance for centuries. In this very setting, amidst roaring presses and gleaming metal blanks, was born the 2010 one penny coin, one of the most fascinating issues in the modern numismatic world. This coin bore the familiar portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, created by Ian Rank Broadley, whose design had adorned British coinage since 1998. His depiction of the Queen showed her mature, wise, and regal, with a sense of realism that emphasized not only her beauty but her enduring presence. Unlike previous portraits, Rank Broadley's version was less idealized and more grounded, making the Queen's image appear more human and approachable. This effigy, surrounded by the inscription, Elizabeth II DG Reg. FD 2010 inch, paid homage to her divine right and royal duty, Latin for Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, Queen, Defender of the Faith. On the reverse side lay a more modern surprise. A small segment of the royal shield, designed by Matthew Dent, graced the coin. This was part of the new reverse design system introduced in 2008, where each of the lower denomination coins formed a section of the royal arms. When placed together, like pieces of a puzzle, the coins revealed the complete royal shield, a masterpiece of national symbolism. For the one penny, the lower left quadrant of the shield was shown, representing England's 3 lions passant gardant. The design was simple yet dynamic, capturing the elegance and strength of British heraldry. But what truly elevates the 2010 one penny from a circulating coin to a numismatic gem is not just the design or the portrait, it's the story of how a single variant, under unique circumstances, slipped through the strict quality control of the Royal Mint. Most of these coins were struck on copper-plated steel blanks, adhering to the modern standard introduced after the rise in copper prices in the early 2000s. But reports emerged of a microscopic batch of 2010 one penny coins struck using pre-1992 bronze blanks, an error that should not have happened. Bronze pennies, composed of 97% copper, 2.5% zinc, and 0.5% tin, had a warmer tone, richer patina, and were significantly heavier. When compared side by side with a standard copper-plated steel penny, the weight difference was unmistakable. Where the modern coins weighed 3.56 grams, these rare bronze-struck pennies tipped the scales at 3.56 to 3.56 plus grams, indicating their composition. Only a handful of these mis-struck bronze coins were ever verified to exist, making them more valuable than gold to collectors. How did such an anomaly occur in a mint as secure and precise as the Royal Mint? The most likely theory points to leftover bronze blanks accidentally being fed into minting machines during the production cycle. These blanks, remnants of earlier minting runs, may have been forgotten in storage bins or machine feeders, escaping the scrutiny of even the most trained eyes. And when struck with the 2010 dies, they emerged as anomalies, undocumented, unanticipated, and unbelievably rare. What makes these coins especially captivating is that no one knew about them when they first entered circulation. They mingled with the masses, hidden in plain sight, passed from palm to palm in everyday transactions, perhaps handed as change for a newspaper, tucked into a child's piggy bank, or lost between sofa cushions. For years, these coins lived mundane lives, their true identity hidden under a cloak of ordinary. It wasn't until a vigilant collector with a trained eye weighed a 2010 penny and noticed the weight discrepancy that the mystery began to unfold. Further analysis, including metallurgical testing, confirmed the truth. This was no copper-plated steel penny. This was an era coin, a treasure born from a blend of history and accident. Suddenly, the numismatic world buzzed with excitement. Experts examined the few known examples and declared them genuine. The value? Astronomical. But rarity alone does not dictate value. It's the story, the mystique, and the emotional pull that turns metal into magic. Collectors worldwide were spellbound. They combed through jars, rolled coins, and storage bins, hoping to discover a hidden gem. Coin forums lit up with speculation, sightings, and spirited debate. Auction houses saw a surge in demand for anything resembling the 2010 bronze penny. One by one, examples surfaced, though still only a precious few. Each confirmed piece added to the lore, and each new auction set higher benchmarks. One particularly pristine specimen, mint state, uncirculated, with brilliant surfaces and sharply struck details, commanded the spotlight at a prestigious auction in London. Bidders from across the globe entered a fierce competition, each more determined than the last. What began as a modest opening quickly escalated into a historic bidding war. Gasps echoed as the price crossed the million mark, then 2, then 5. In the end, the hammer fell at a staggering $10 million, setting a record for the most expensive modern British penny ever sold. And what a journey that coin had! From an accidental birth at the Royal Mint, to quiet circulation, to global stardom, this was more than a coin. It was a chronicle of fate, chance, and incredible discovery. Its new owner, a private collector known for acquiring the rarest of rare coins, reportedly stated that it wasn't just the metal or the era that captivated him. It was the story. A penny, meant to be common, destined for pockets and cash drawers, had transformed into a priceless artifact simply because someone paid attention. This tale holds a powerful message for collectors and enthusiasts. Great treasures don't always shine at first glance. Sometimes they hide in the most familiar places, waiting patiently to be seen, understood, and appreciated. The 2010 one penny is a beacon of that truth. It's a reminder that numismatics isn't just about rarity or value, it's about passion, perseverance, and the joy of discovering the extraordinary within the ordinary. Today, the legend of the 2010 bronze-struck Elizabeth II one penny continues to grow. Each time one appears at auction, it reignites the flame of curiosity among both seasoned collectors and newcomers alike. Its legacy inspires thousands to revisit their old coin collections, to look a little closer at pocket change, and to wonder what hidden wonders might lie unnoticed. So, the next time you hold a penny in your hand, don't dismiss it. Take a moment. Examine the date. Feel its weight. You never know, it could be a piece of history waiting to be discovered. For some lucky individual, a coin once thought to be worth just 1 cent turned out to be worth $10 million. And that's the magic of numismatics, where value isn't just in the metal, but in the marvel, the mystery, and the story it tells. And that brings us to the end of this fascinating journey. From a small, circular piece of metal born in 2010 to its current place in the Hall of Fame of rare and valuable coins, this is the power of rarity, history, and passion coming together. This is the story of the Elizabeth II one penny 2010, brought to life by HD Ultra Rare Coins.